All right, guys. First and foremost, bear with me. I probably could have done some videos while I worked, but um, it's an oil pump, nothing fancy. So before I get too far into it, share, like, subscribe. And if you guys want to know the roots of this engine build, this goes back to probably last winter when I picked up everything from JJ. JJ currently is my main source of used parts. He seems to have stuff that I just cannot do without. So, JJ, thank you so much. Last year, I picked up this 350 that had self clearance 7 rod bearings. It was just improperly built. And it came with oiling modifications that already were there, and I just kind of ran with them. Now, the upshot was that the block was already bored, but it was too tight for the pistons. So it scored the crap out of the pistons, and 2 of them were almost non-usable. I would have said send it had I not wanted this engine to kind of live. So I saved those pistons, and if somebody can knurl them for me, I have a theory that I can reuse those pistons, and if I knurl them, the scores will evenly wear in. So that's a subject for a different day. So either way, I get this engine together, I get it on the run stand, everything runs great. Now, the day that I decide to get it off the run stand, I revved the living bejesus out of it and realized that I am pegging the gauge to 100 psi, which is as far as it'll go, but it's not settling back at 0. So I'm probably doing 100 plus psi either way. So I calm myself down, and like a week later, I take the oil pump off. I check the bearings. The bearings look really good. What was disturbing was the amount of shrapnel that was in the pan. Apparently I thought I had cleaned the block, the crank, the heads, and everything else the best I could, but that was not enough. So this is my warning to you guys building stuff at home. If you can use a run stand, do it, but drop your pan after you're breaking. If you're building at home, there's a lot of stuff, contaminants that can get in there, and unless your machine shop cleans and preps every single part you're going to install, flush a bunch of oil through it, sacrifice a bunch of filters. I think on this engine so far, I'm probably well over $150 in oil and filters, just trying to, I kept seeing stuff in the oil every single time got better. The pleats were always cleaner, but again, just my warning on that end. We were pegging the gauge at over 100 psi, and big shout out to Mr. Dave Worthington, who is a follower and friend and enabler of all that is crazy thoughts. So he told me to take a look at the bypass because he had run into issues where he's seen him do goofy stuff. Now this oil pump came from Mr. I hope I can say your name, Jerry Peterson. Big Jer. You guys know the Oldsmobile calendar. If you're an Oldsmobile guy, you've seen it. That's his baby. I got the oil pump and that Rollmaster timing set from him. His engine self-expired fairly fast. Sorry, Jerry. But the oil pump was blueprinted by another Oldsmobile guy who I will leave nameless because I don't know if he follows, just out of respect. If you're not in, I'm not going to say your name. But he was well known in the Olds world, and he builds some serious bullets. So I wasn't going to doubt his work because he knows what he's doing. But ultimately, we had a lot of things working against us between the block that had experienced self-clearancing rods, a lot of crap going through it, the heads that came off of Enron, where we spun, I think, 2 or 3 rods, and the oil pump that came from an engine that saw a lot of shrapnel. So the odds are definitely against us in that situation, but when you're a guy and you're trying to do it on a budget, this is what you do. Keep this in mind. I got at this point, about 3,900 into that engine, and that's using a lot of used stuff. So that'll tell you the reality of what I'm doing here because, 3,900 is nothing. It's not like chump change, but the reality is I built this engine for probably a little over half of what it would have cost if I started from scratch. Same thing with my previous engines, with every build I've had issues. I'm not gonna lie, but if you're willing to figure it out, you'll get it. So again, with that theme, Mr. Worthington chimed in and told me, look at this and look at that, and I did. And lo and behold, our bypass was sticking. It moved easy to a certain extent in the bore, but it was actually sticking partway through. So what I ended up doing was I cleaned everything again, and I kind of honed the bore with a little 400 grit on a roll, and then boom, I got that bypass to move real nice and easy with a little bit of oil. And I thought about putting it back in, but I'm like, you know what? Let's go opposite. Let's get a brand new pump and put it in. And if that does something goofy, then we have to dig deeper. Well, it worked out. I fired up the engine. I saw a little over 60 psi cold, which is probably reality closer to 60 because my gauge is a little off after pegging it, kind of fucking it up. And then when I hung up the RPMs and I revved it to like north of 6,300, the last I saw on the tack, on the timing light tack, it didn't go past 70. So we're good. And I hope you guys have enjoyed these videos where I kind of talk and let you guys know what I'm doing. I do have videos of the engine running and on the stand and a picture of the oil pressure gauge. And again, I could have done more videos on it, but reality is I did this on my evenings. All of the oil pressure issues I did on the evenings, so my time was limited to what I can do. I didn't want to stay at work too late, so I chopped it down and did all my stuff. So I'll let you guys go. Share, like, subscribe. If I missed anything or if there's anything you guys would like me to touch on, let me know. But you guys can follow this whole engine build saga with this engine probably dating back to like last June. You'll see some of the videos where I think in one of the videos the title was like ready for the machine shop or whatever SBO build. You guys can follow it back. There's a whole thing. Usually with anything I do, there's kind of like a small series and a theme, because I'm not like your typical YouTuber. I'm doing this strictly because I think the Oldsmobile world needs more guys like this. Especially right now, there's a huge influx of Oldsmobile guys as the market has presented itself for Oldsmobiles and Buicks. Actually, I think they're running out of Chevelles or Camaros or something. So there's a lot more guys who kind of need this info, because when I started, nobody encouraged me. I was always discouraged, like, why don't you just do it right once and live with it? No, well, I wanted to learn, and this is ultimately the way you learn. You're going to put stuff together that's going to be sketchy, and you're going to run into stuff, but that stuff leads to experience, just like with any trade. If you love the hobby and you love to tinker, this is probably going to be your best course of action to learn, is just put something together, run with it, and go for it. I know the older I get, the less time I have. So I'm kind of at a crossroads in life where I can continuously keep building stuff or build something that's going to be in the car. But then again, we have two cars. I plan on going back to basics with my 403 build and keeping it basic for you guys, and going super, super low buck. Like if you guys go back, my friend Eric's 350 that we saved, we took a late 70s 350 and cobbled up what he had left after spinning some rod bearings, and we put together something that's been in his car for, I think, probably 4 years now, over 3 years, because it was right around the time. That was the year before I got married. I think I put that engine together for him. So either way, I won't get too long into this, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed this and what I've been doing, because I don't get a lot of feedback. I get views and stuff, but ultimately you guys got to let me know, and hopefully it works out for you guys, what I share and talk about. I talk a lot. I get it. So share, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. And if you're a cheap fuck like me, then this is your page. Because I got 3,900 in an engine that probably would have cost me over 7,000. And to me, it's still worth it to risk it. Why? Because I got something out of it. Information is more valuable than paying somebody, in my opinion. So it takes us on a weird path sometimes. We'll see you guys later.